Hello everyone, it's Amanda from Eat, Pray, Crunch, and today I am going to be doing a first impression unboxing of the curriculum Lightning Literature for both grade 2 and grade 3. So I was sent this curriculum from Hewitt Homeschooling in exchange for my honest review. So I will be doing 2 reviews of this. First, my first impressions, since we will be using it next year for my 2nd grader and my 4th grader. So for language arts, up to this point, we have actually done most of our work just kind of via unschooling and through our parent partnership. My kids have taken a couple of literature classes through there, but we are trying to simplify our schedule a little bit for next year, and I really wanted to bring language arts home and really focus on some of the skills, especially Alex, my to-be 4th grader, has some gaps. He is gifted and autistic, and he learned to read when he was like 2 years old, but he has, because it was so intuitive for him, he has some gaps now that we have been this year using the Good and the Beautiful Level 1 language arts to kind of fill some of those gaps, which has been effective, but it's a thorough curriculum and it's doing what we want it to do, but it's also not my favorite. And I can do a whole review on the Good and the Beautiful language arts if that's something that you guys are interested in me doing in the future, and you know, what we like about it, what we don't like about it, and why we're choosing to move on from it next year. So I did a whole bunch of research on secular literature curriculums, and there were a few of them that looked appealing to me, some of them that looked overwhelming to me, and ultimately I ended up landing on Lightning Literature. I had also looked at Bookshark, and that's the secular version of Sunlight. I do think Sunlight is really good as well in terms of their literature and language arts, but Bookshark is kind of their secular equivalent. I considered that, although it seemed a little bit overwhelming to me. Same with Torchlight. Torchlight seems really great as well, but there were so many books that it also seemed really overwhelming to me. And I wanted to have a little more structure in how I was teaching it. And so in all my research, I came across Lightning Literature, and it seemed to check most of those boxes for me. Now, Hewitt Homeschooling, I believe, is a Christian homeschooling company, but this particular curriculum is entirely secular. There is, as far as I know, no mention of anything religious in this curriculum, so it can be used as a purely secular curriculum. So works well for secular and religious people alike. It's very neutral, so that's great. I really like that about it. So let's first look at grade 2 here. So here we have the teacher's guide and the student workbook for grade 2. One thing that I should note in all of the reviews and everything that I watched of Lightning Literature is that a lot of people say that it is a little advanced for their grade levels, especially the composition part, the writing part. And so if you have a child that is, you know, right on target or just a little bit behind, maybe going back a level, could be a better fit. And I was going to do that for my daughter, who's going to be in 2nd grade next year, but I looked through the book list and realized that we had read more than half of the books that were on that book list already, just on our own and through her literature class at school. So I was like, okay, we're just going to jump ahead and do grade 2 for grade 2. So hopefully it won't be too hard for her. She's still learning how to read this year. We are using Logic of English to teach her how to read. And I need to do a review of Logic of English as well, because we absolutely love it. But this is to get more of like the grammar, the literature, writing, that aspect of language arts. So depending on how my daughter is doing with reading next year, A lot of these books may end up being read-alouds because it may not be at her reading level yet, considering that she is a little bit behind. She just got an ADHD diagnosis, and that was really affecting her ability to learn how to read. But now that she is on medication, and we found a curriculum that works really well for kinesthetic learners like her, she is taking off with reading. So hopefully she will catch up, but she is kind of behind. She's still at about a kindergarten reading level in first grade. So these may end up being like read-alouds for her. So we shall see. But we will just kind of play that by ear. Hopefully the rest of it will be doable for her. So let's first look at the teacher's edition, or the teacher's guide. So you can see here it's about yay thick, and I should mention, I've seen other people do this in the review. The student workbook is very colorful and engaging, which I want to point out before touching on the teacher's guide, because the teacher's guide is all in black and white, which I wish it was in color, but I'll live. This is a 4 days a week schedule. So they have it laid out where you have day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, and it tells you, it walks you through everything to do. I believe it's even scripted. Yeah, so day 2, composition and grammar. They tell you exactly what to do. They give you the reading comprehension answers to the reading comprehension questions, and they give you all the answers to all of the grammar worksheets and things like that. And it gives you all of the writing prompts for the composition and that kind of thing. So that's basically what the teacher's edition looks like. And I will go through and show you which books are the book selections for grade 2 in the student workbook. Let me zoom in a little here so you can see it a little better. Okay, so opening up to the student workbook, it has a list in the table of contents of all of the book selections. So, and then it goes by week. It shows you which books you're doing by week. And we have Max's Words, The Old Woman Who Named Things, The Bee Tree, TD, The Story of Young Teddy Roosevelt, Insect Detective, The Three Questions, La Mariposa, The Random House Book of Poetry for Children, which I have actually purchased because it is used for both 2nd and 3rd grade, and I just wanted to have this on hand. So I found it for a really good deal used through Amazon. And then Sequoia, Anatole, Pop's Bridge, The Patchwork Quilt, Sylvester and the Magic Pebble, The Extraordinary Mark Twain, The Polar Express, The Random House, and okay, then we're back to another week of poetry, and then The Enormous Crocodile, Snowflake Bentley, Many Moons, Sam Bangs and Moonshine, This Is New York, The Bears Hemlock Mountain, The Mouse Called Wolf. So as you can see, as we get further into the year, we start doing some simple chapter books. So we have another week of poetry, so they intersperse poetry throughout the year, which is great. Then we have the Boxcar Children, My Father's Dragon, Fairmont Avenue, another week of poetry, and then it finishes on Mr. Popper's Penguins. So those all looked like a really fun selection of books to be reading together for 2nd grade. Here is what the student workbook looks like. So we have week 1, Max's Words. We can just go through what one of the weeks looks like. So there's just 1 page per day for the child. So this part seems really doable to me and like right on grade level. So that will be, I think, really good for where my daughter is at this point. And then, so we're doing a summary. This is what this story is about. This is what I think of this story. My favorite sentence. So day 3, they're working on word order. So this is generally when they do day 3, day 4. It looks like they are doing some grammar. And then also day 4 is also when you do the composition. Now, like I said, The composition I've read is very advanced for grade level, that portion of this. So I'm going to see how my kids do with it. And if it is looking too difficult for them, I have a plan B, which I will show you when I am done going through this. Here's week 2. You can just kind of see a sampling of what it looks like. Very colorful, very engaging. The size of the writing and the font looks just about on par for a 2nd grader to me. It seems very thorough in terms of teaching reading comprehension, understanding literature, and it's very thorough with grammar as well. I know they do sentence diagramming, which I will see if I come across that here, but some people could take or leave the sentence diagramming. We will probably do it just because I think that is an important skill to understand all of the parts of a sentence grammar-wise. We'll just flip through a little quicker here, but you can just see kind of the pattern they have: day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4. And you can go into day 5 with the composition if you're needing a little more time on that. So there we have that. So I'm really excited to do this with Sophie next year. So let's move on to Alex's, who will be in 4th grade. And like I said, he is gifted and autistic, and he is a pretty good reader, but he sometimes lacks motivation to read and write. And we have a little bit of a struggle with that. And so there is a Facebook group for people who use Lightning Literature, and I asked some questions in there of other parents who have had some experience with it and with, similar kids, and they suggested going down 1 grade level for Alex, which is kind of what we've done all along. This year, he is doing level 1 with the Good and the Beautiful Language Arts, which is equivalent to grade 2. So this would be the logical next step. So I'm not too worried of having him be exactly on grade level as long as he is progressing forward, which is what we are doing. So next year he will be doing grade 3. I will flip through the teacher's guide here like I did with the other one. So very similar to the 2nd grade. It tells you everything, all the answers to all of the questions, all of the comprehension questions, all of the grammar, and it gives you all of the composition prompts and everything in here. Now, I should mention that they do 1 composition a week. 1 writing task a week, and I don't believe there is space to do that in the student workbook, and you have to either have them type it up or get like a composition notebook or something like that. So that's just a little, throw that in there as a note. This is what the teacher's edition looks like for grade 3. So you can kind of see what it looks like, black and white, but very, very thorough. It tells you everything you need to know. It walks you through everything. And even if if your child is capable of reading the books themselves, and you are not doing it as a read aloud with them, it gives you summaries of what happens in each chapter for each day. It's very helpful. So you don't actually have to read the book yourself. So it gives you all the comprehension question or answers to the comprehension questions, and it's makes it very easy to use even if you have not read the book yourself. So that is fantastic and user-friendly for me because I have 3 kids and I'm probably not going to have time to read out loud every single book. Now, we'll see how Alex's reading is doing next year when we start doing this. His reading is getting very strong now, so he may be able to read on his own, but he still has a hard time reading silently. He still likes to read out loud with somebody. So we'll see. We still have a little bit of this year left. We'll see if we can get him working reading on his own by next year. But if not, then I will take a little time, or grandma or whoever is here helping me, dad, to read with him. So there is the teacher's guide for grade 3. And I will show you the student workbook for grade 3. Like grade 2, it is very, very colorful and engaging. I love how beautiful it is. I think that this will be really engaging, and it seems like the spacing of the lines and everything is right about on par for where, you know, handwriting would be for a 3rd grader, and the size of font for reading seems about on par as well. And this is also a 4-day-a-week lesson plan. So just like grade 2. Okay, so we have day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, and then they also work on their composition on day 4. Now, like I said, Alex, he really struggles with writing, even though he is extremely smart and a pretty good reader. He does not enjoy writing. He is a reluctant writer. So I am a little concerned about if he will be able to handle the composition parts of this curriculum. And like I said, I have a plan B for if that is the case, which I will show you in a moment. So this is what it looks like. Just very engaging. There's some beautiful art in there. Bright, colorful, easy to read. I really, really like the visual appeal and the layout of the student workbook. Now, one thing they have in the back is a dictionary. So whenever they come across a word that they are unfamiliar with, they can write it in the dictionary in the back. So there's space for every letter in the back, so they can learn new words. So that is what the grade 3 student workbook looks like. Now let me do a flip through of the table of content so you can see which book selections there are for grade 3. So we have Sarah Plain and Tall, Rickshaw Girl, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, and this is the Random House book of poetry that I showed you before. This will be used for both grade 2 and grade 3 for my son and daughter. So this will come in handy for that. Then we have Ramona and Her Father. Now that one's going to be nostalgic for me. I loved the Ramona books when I was a kid. Then we have another week of poetry. So like the other one, poetry is well dispersed throughout the whole year. Then we have The Big Wave, Charlotte's Web, another classic there. Another week of poetry, The Wheel on the School, the Random House Book of Poetry. Again, we have another week of poetry, and then we have The Tale of Despero. So it is all chapter books for grade 3. Grade 2 had some picture books and some chapter books. By the time we're at grade 3, we have all chapter books. Okay, so in terms of where I'm going to be getting all of these books, I will either be trying to buy them used, or I will try to find them at the library. We have an excellent library system where we live. I can easily put things on reserve and get them ahead of time. Now, with the chapter books, we may end up buying them just because we end up using them longer, and it may exceed the time that we can check them out from the library. But with the picture books for grade 2, I will probably end up getting them from the library because they are, you know, like a one and done kind of thing. So that will be a lot easier to do through the library. So I'm going to try and save money by doing it that way. With some of the longer chapter books, I may try to find those used. I know I think it's usedbooks.com. You can go through Amazon. You can go to your local used bookstore. There's lots of ways to get really good deals on used books. So that is how I am going to plan to do it in an economical way, because if you were to buy all of these books brand new, that would be a pretty penny, and that is not within our budget. So we will definitely be trying to do most of it through the library and or getting these books used. Like I said, the writing part is going to be a very big challenge for my son Alex, especially because he is such a reluctant writer. Sophie, who will be my second grader, she even though she's behind in her reading, her writing is right on par. She's still a little bit behind on spelling though, so that is still going to take a little time, but I have a feeling that once it clicks for her, she's going to like writing a lot more than Alex. So the composition parts of this book may end up working well for her. But I have a backup plan, and whether or not we use the composition parts of this curriculum, I may end up just using what I'm about to show you in addition to using this as the core language arts. So after all of my research, I decided to get some Evan Moor writing books. Evan Moor, they have everything. I wish I had discovered Evan Moor sooner. They have everything is secular and it is Common Core aligned, everything that I am looking for. And in terms of writing curriculums, I was trying to find something that really holds my hand in terms of teaching writing. There are some, I feel like a lot of what I hear in terms of lightning literature is that it's very open-ended, and they don't give you a lot of direct instruction on how to teach writing. So I needed a little bit more help with that. So I decided ultimately I had considered looking at IEW, I had looked at Write Shop, I had looked at Essentials in Writing. There were a number of things that I had looked at, but for one reason or another, if you're interested in me talking about a whole writing curriculum review, let me know. And that's something that I can do separately and talk about all my thoughts about writing curriculums. But the long and short of it was that I ended up deciding to go with Evan Moor because they have on grade level stuff. It's very systematic and teaches every step of the writing process. So I'll show you what I got for that, because I am planning on using these regardless of whether we do the composition part of lightning literature or not. Sophie, who'll be my second grader, thinking of starting this over the summer. This is real world writing. So it has like an online message, pet care, toy review, greeting card, yard sign, journal. So this is like how we use writing in the real world. And as you can see, this is very colorful and beautiful as well. And I think this will be just a really engaging way to introduce writing to my daughter this summer in a very real life kind of way. So I'm going to be doing that for her, and then starting in the school year, I will be doing the grade 1 daily 6-trait writing. So this is also a step-by-step. Let's see if I can find an example here. So here it goes day by day as well. Like they give you a 4-day, I believe it's a 5-day, 5-day plan. So we have week 4, day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5, in which they give you a writing prompt. But all the days leading up to the day 5 writing prompt is set up to help your child succeed in their writing on their final 5th day. It's all leading up to that writing assignment at the end. So it's all building on each other and very structured, which I really like. So these books, you can either use them if you're going to just be using it for one child. You can just go ahead and have them use this book. They have all the student workbook stuff right in the book, but you can also get a student workbook edition which just has the student pages, and then you can save this if you're going to use it for another child, which I will be doing since I also have a 4.5-year-old who will be coming down the line here soon with writing. So, but this has all of the teacher notes and walks you through it and tells you exactly what to do. So that's the daily 6-trait writing. Now I'm thinking, hopefully we will get through this in sooner than the end of the year, in which case I also have the grade 2 waiting in the wings here. So if we have, I'm in no rush, but if we happen to get to this then and get through the grade 2 one as well, then she will be fully caught up to grade level for writing by the end of next year. So that is my plan with Sophie. My plan with Alex is, because he is such a reluctant writer, These are the ones I'm going to work on over the summer with him. This is writing a super sentence. So this is basically like he can write a sentence, but it needs some help. So we are just going to go over the very basic of how to write a good, engaging sentence and the different types of writing. So that is what that looks like for him. And then this is the for ages 8 to 9. The one I'm doing for Sophie is ages 6 to 7. So that's the one I'll be doing the real world writing for her. For Alex, this is for ages 8 to 9, and he's 9. So I'll be doing the real world writing for him. So there's movie review, greeting card, fundraising letter, journal, bumper sticker, pet care. So it's just more real life, very colorful. I just love that. How we use writing, and so it makes it more engaging for the child because it's like this is what you are actually going to use writing for in your real life. So that's what I'll be doing with him this summer to really kind of start the writing process for him. And then through next school year, I will be doing the grade 3 daily 6 trait writing, just like with Sophie. And if we get through this one, then I will move on to grade 4. So if we happen to get through both of these by next year, he too will be caught up in writing. So that is my plan in terms of writing. I'm really looking forward to having the explicit structure of the Evan Moor writing instruction, having a little bit more hand-holding when it comes to teaching writing, which does seem to be lacking a bit in Lightning Literature. However, Lightning Literature has stated that they are aware of the composition issue that a lot of people are having and that they are needing a lot more structure and direct instruction for how to teach writing in the composition aspect of their curriculum. And so they are working on making an updated version of this curriculum. So that is in the works right now. So I should just throw that out there. I know that they are working on it. They don't have a date yet when that will be out, but they have let the community know that that is something that they're working on. So that is fantastic. So they are an amazing company. They are listening to the needs of their customers, and you can tell that they really care about children's education and providing a very high quality education. So overall, I am very, very excited to be using Lightning Literature next year for my 2nd grader and my 4th grader. So if you guys have had any experience with this, definitely leave a comment down below and let me know how you liked Lightning Literature, or if it's something that you are interested in. Once we are partway through the year next year and we have had some real experience using this, I will do another review once my kids have actually used it to give you an idea of how much they like it as well. So that is my review for Lightning Literature. I hope that was helpful for you and you got a good idea of what is involved in this. And if you are interested in trying Lightning Literature yourself, I will leave the Hewitt Homeschooling website in my description box below so that you guys can go over there and find it if you are interested in using it as well. So thank you so much for watching this video today. Be sure to like and subscribe if this is the kind of thing that is interesting to you, and we will see you in the next video. Bye guys.